Hello and welcome to this international special of LEGO Wars. Tonight we have 16 robots from 9 different countries around the world, each putting national pride on the line in pursuit of glory. I'll be your host David of Smeg, and without further ado let's introduce the machines embarking on the road to Armageddon.
First, from Wales, Block Dougal.
Flying the flag for Wales, this patriotic good boy intends to give all other machines a good kicking with its stabbing spike.
From the USA, Bergie.
By some way the heaviest competitor in the field, this sentient burger aims to show off what it's made of with its dangerous bacon bar.
From Ukraine, Detonator.
Contrary to its heavyweight counterpart, the Detonator promises to go the distance with its lifting arm and charged batteries.
From Ireland, DETONATOR.
Representing the Emerald Isle, the fur-brained DETONATOR aims to shove all opposition aside with its grinning scoop and boggly eyes.
From the USA, Duck.
A durable duck has skipped across the pond for this championship, with its lifting beak and strong power making this foul no pushover.
From the USA, Frenzy.
The first of the yellow bots tonight, Frenzy boasts the strongest axe in the field and aims to beat all other foes into submission.
From the Czech Republic, Good Hits.
With some dubious links, Good Hits is representing the Czech Republic with its devastating axe hoping to cleave all robots in two.
From the USA, HYPERSHOCK.
By far the fastest robot in the field, HYPERSHOCK hoped to rip up the opposition with its metal-tipped bar spinner.
From England, King B.
A deceptively simple-looking robot, King B Cubed boasts some of the best pushing power in the competition, twinned with some lifting forks for extra purchase.
From England, the LEGO.
Last of the axe bots, the LEGO will stare down all the opposition with her googly eyes and barbed bonker in tow.
From Wales, Panic Attack.
One of the favourites in the pits, Panic Attack hopes to live up to this tag with its lifting forks and spinner-resistant chassis.
From the Netherlands, Petunia.
A potential dark horse, Petunia has a strong crushing arm and anti-spinner wedge to eat up the competition.
From England, Thunderbird 4.
Flown in via Chinook this morning, Thunderbird 4 will kick up a storm with its plough and slicer-dicer crushing arm.
From England, the Diddler.
The last of the machines representing England and arguably the most dangerous, the Diddler hopes to tear through the opposition with its monstrous disc of doom.
From Northern Ireland, Weldor M.
The second represent from Team Penny, Welder M boasts good offence and defence with its bright bar spinner and strong wedge.
From Canada, Zoidy.
The lightest robot in the field, but by no means weak, Zoidy Blue hopes to control the field with its unique horizontal crusher. Here's how they line up in round 1. King B Cubed will square off against the Dutch crusher of Petunia. Detonator will be out for revenge against Frenzy. Block Dougal and Weldor M will fight it out for Team Penny honour. The LEGO will go axe on axe with Good Hits. Bergie and HYPERSHOCK will go all out in an American tussle. The dangerous disc of the Diddler will try and crack open Zoidy Blue. DETONATOR will fight Plunderbird for sportsmanship honours. And finally, Duck will take on Panic Attack in a battle for control bot supremacy. Let's pass on now to our commentator Anderson and get on with the first fight.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So King B Cubed versus Petunia. King B Cubed charging across the arena and have lost something now. I think that's one of the chains for the drive, and if that's the case, they might very well be struggling to get any sort of decent movement. That allows Petunia to get around the back and get the crusher in on the top. Not doing too much damage. Oh, but now getting a hold of one of the wheels, look. So maybe trying to pull off one of those wheels of King B Cubed. King B Cubed trying to hit the pit button. Didn't work on that attempt. Did on the second attempt though, but Petunia now pushing him into the side wall. Trying to grab a hold of them. There's definitely some control issues here for King B Cubed. And I'm just wondering, are they immobile? Petunia trying to crush in. A little wag of the lifting forks, well, that's not really anything, is it? Let's be honest, lads, we need to see you get some movement in there. And I do think King B Cubed are in trouble. Oh no, they are okay. Oh! Well, they finally show sign of movement and they go straight down the pit. Great driving as usual. Brilliant. Petunia the winners. Great stuff.
Cease.
Well, it all went wrong for King B Cubed right at the start. As you can see, one of their chains broke, meaning they could only really go forwards or backwards. Petunia came in around the back, tried to get the crusher in and do some damage. Didn't really see much from that crusher from Petunia, so some might consider them lucky to win, because it was King B who killed themselves driving into the pit.
After that tactical exit from King B Cubed, we have the War of Independence rematch of the century with Detonator and Frenzy.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
This is a rematch from the War of Independence of Series 4 of Robot Wars. Detonator got destroyed then by Frenzy, and it looks to me the exact same thing's going to happen this time. Frenzy getting several good hits in straight away, knocking off several pieces of armour, doing the damage, and again bringing that huge hammer down. It is a great swinging hammer. Comes down with a lot of power, makes the arena shake whenever it hits the floor. Detonator have got that lifting arm, so they've replaced the static ramming pole with an actual moving weapon. So, well, you have to give credit where credit's due. They've actually done something useful for a change with their machine. And again, it has swapped hands over to a Ukrainian team, I hear. Little certain someone from the ESC podcast. But then more on that later. On to the fight. Frenzy on top at the moment, on the aggressive. Detonator being forced into the corner now by Frenzy. Almost being pinned in and trapped like a wild animal. Down goes the pit button was pressed. Now who actually pressed that? Was that Frenzy pushing Detonator into the pit button? If so, it was very interesting tactics from the Frenzy team. Detonator now getting the lifting arm underneath the hammer of Frenzy, so maybe that's a tactic of theirs to get the hold of the hammer and drag them towards the pit. Now they're using the flipper as a ramming bar. We know that doesn't work, boys, or girls, or whoever's controlling it. This is an interesting fight so far. Been a very, very tactical battle, this one. I'd say Frenzy is definitely on top, especially considering how much damage has been caused. But is it me or is that hammer struggling a little bit? It seems to get one or two shots in and then it starts twitching around a little bit. And Detonator haven't died yet, and that's a very important thing to notice. And now they've managed to finally get underneath Frenzy and are plucking them up. Oh, and they've driven the bar, the lifting pole, into the underside, and now Frenzy have been beached! Well! Oh, for a minute I thought we were about to have an upset because Frenzy seemed to be beached on that piece of Detonator's arm, and Detonator managed to get themselves stuck on their own piece of armour now. Good control. Not. So maybe control isn't their strongest motif. Then again, Frenzy doesn't seem to have any movement whatsoever at the moment, and are being counted out! Where'd this come from? What an upset this could be! They've got 2 seconds to get back! And then I don't believe it! Frenzy! They're out! What happened there? They were doing all the work. Maybe it was the attack underneath from that lifter. Look at that! See now, the lifter getting underneath and doing some serious damage to Frenzy there. And I'm wondering if that's what happened. We saw it go underneath them earlier. I wonder if it took out some of the internals. Oh, dearie me, Frenzy! They've just been split in half. And Detonator, I tell you what, they could do well here.
Cease.
That was an amazing performance from them. Well done. Frenzy, not so much. Huge upset here. Frenzy definitely starting the stronger. Huge hit after huge hit. Side panel after side panel just being knocked away from Detonator. Detonator just would not die though. Look, here's another huge shot from that hammer. Really were laying in the hits, but then out of nowhere, Frenzy just seemed to stop moving. And that allowed Detonator to get underneath and do the damage. Look at that. Horrendous damage caused. Eventually splitting Frenzy in half.
Well done to Detonator for that incredible upset. Next up, we have a battle of Team Penny between Weldor M and Block Dougal.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Interesting fact, both these machines being entered by members of Team Penny. Northern Irish Weldor M being represented by Twopenny Milk or Anthony Murney. And of course, Block Dougal from Wales being represented by Tenta Jester. Oh, well, Weldor M has done more damage to itself in the opening start of this. Now getting some attacks in on Block Dougal. Block Dougal's head's been smacked. Look at that damage there to the head of poor Block. The blanket on the top, the Welsh flag, also being knocked wonky. It's there to keep poor Block warm, but I don't think it's going to be on there for much longer. It's hanging on by a thread at this point, and it's gone. Well, that's it. The Welsh flag's gone. Block has no hope whatsoever. What is that on the front of Block? What is it? That's meant to be a weapon. I've seen deadlier toothpicks than that. Weldor M now coming in with a good shove and a good push, trying to bring that bar spinner back into play. Block Dougal at least maintaining some aggression. Oh dearie me, they're being absolutely mullered here. They're taking huge punishment. Off comes one of the side panels. Oh dear. Block's molting. It looks like a dog that's got mange. Poor Block. It's a cold, poor pooch. All it wants is a warm basket by the fire, and it's looking like a stray dog at the moment. Oh dear. Another huge hit from Weldor M. Bits and pieces flying everywhere. This is great stuff. Pieces just falling out of the bottom from the inside of Block Dougal. Oh dearie me. And they're still going. Well, you got to give a great. Oh, here. One of the ears is gone. Oh, and the back panel. Well, why not? Too many smacks on the tail by the looks of things. Is there anything going to be left of it? Oh, well, Weldor has lost its front panel now. It's all happening, and they've lost their weapon. How am I supposed to keep up with this? I was hired 20 minutes ago. They pulled me off the streets. All I wanted to do was go to Greg's for a sausage roll. Now they've reopened. The pit's gone down, apparently. Oh dear, both robots are streaking. If this was a streaking contest, I think they'd both win, to be honest. But it's not a streaking contest. And that was Block on the attack, believe it or not, despite being the attack robot. I think their weapon, if you can call it that, has stopped as well. Oh wait, no, it's still going. This is great stuff. Oh, and a big, huge heave-ho. Oh, and Block on the verge of the pit. And I don't think they're going to get back from there. No, they're down into the nice, warm kennel known as the Pound. Oh dear, I need to get my breath back after that. Well, poor Block got its face smashed in straight away. Lost its blanket, lost all of its hope. Now that was a bit of a worrying point there for Weldor M. They got stuck on their own armour panel, and I tell you what, if they'd been left alone, they more than likely would have lost there, but they came back, got some nasty shots in on the side, causing all sorts of damage, including taking off the ear. Oh dear, then their own spinner fell off. That was just pure mayhem. Eventually, though, they were able to summon Dougal to the pit of oblivion. Weldor M, go through.
Next up, we have the ever-watching eyes of Nelego clashing axes with the might of good hits.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So we have the two heavy hitters, Nelego on the left, a Lego Nelly, and good hits on the right, a Lego Terahertz. Nelego starting off the stronger, caving in one of those side panels on good hits. Good hits is axe doesn't seem to have too much power behind it at the opening stages. More damage being done there by Nelego with the bonker. That's what they've called it. Yeah, whatever floats the boat, I'm sure. There's a reason why they named it that. Nelly coming in on the attack now, but down comes the axe of good hits, and they've done some damage. The top panel and the side panel have come off of Nelego, and all of a sudden the damage points are all in favour for good hits. Oh dearie me, one in the eye, they've caved in the eye, the other ears come off as well, and all of a sudden this battle is being turned on its head. But Nelego not giving up just yet, bringing in that bunker, which, let's be real now, look, looks like a Lego toilet brush. They brought a toilet brush into the arena, I don't know why. This is great stuff. More hits to the eye as well from good hits, who I would have to say is on top at the moment just due to the damage caused. Lego pieces are just falling all over the place from them, and they haven't really done much damage to good hits. They did in the opening stages, but not since then. Now they're going for the pit button. So are they confident they can get good hits down the pit? They must be, because they've definitely released it. But down comes the axe once again of good hits onto the eyebrow. Both robots trying to get into each other's weapon systems there. Both robots are also failing miserably at doing that. Down comes Lego's bonker again. More pieces falling off of it, and even more. So far, this has definitely been good hits in battle so far, but anything could happen at a later stage of this fight. And Lego now being pushed back by good hits, and look there! Lego have managed to get themselves beached on their own back panel, and I don't think they can get away. No, look, the wheels are spinning wildly and they cannot get away. And that now means that they are a sitting duck for all the hits that good hits will give them. And I'm pretty certain good hits will give them some good hits. Oh look! The axes have locked! That's the first time we've ever seen that on Lego Wars. Axes locking. Then again, this is the first battle with 2 axes in it in the entirety of Lego Wars, so that's probably why that is. I don't know why they hired me either, trust me. But this, for me, now could be it for Lego. They haven't moved for a while. They've been well and truly beached. Their frames wobbling. Their eyes are going all over the place. Their bonkers flailing madly. But that's not going to save you, I don't think. The clock is ticking. And I'm being told that's actually for the fight end. So this will probably go to the judges. And it's going to go to the judges. C's called, though I'm not too sure it's going to be too difficult for them. And I'm actually being told that there's a little bit of controversy here. What is that controversy, you may be asking? Well, Lego were immobilised for way too long and should have been counted out. So the judges have decided that that countdown at the end was actually a countdown for Lego and not for the battle end. Meanwhile, looking back at the highlights, as you can see, Lego took a hell of a bashing, didn't they, from good hits. The eye being caved in, the ears gone, the back panel got knocked off, and then look, they got beached on their own piece of armour. They couldn't get away, and they should have been counted out. And they have officially been counted out now by the judges. Good hits go through.
After that smashing time, we have an all-American brawl with the speedy HYPERSHOCK going up against the meaty Bergie.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
HYPERSHOCK versus Bergie, the battle of 2 spinners. HYPERSHOCK getting the better start, getting into Bergie, knocking off side panels, and the top bun is looking a bit worse for wear as well. That bacon spinner, which looks awesome, isn't doing much. And Bergie hitting the pit button, so they must be slightly confident they can get HYPERSHOCK down the pit. HYPERSHOCK, there was a 4-wheel drive machine with a big spinner and a wedge at the front, so maybe they might be being a little bit optimistic. Look at the top bun. Look at the top bun. It looks so sad. And again, it looks a lot better than what my local Burger King can make, so I'll give them that. But for me, so far, HYPERSHOCK are definitely winning this one, and it's going to take a lot for Bergie to come back into this one, and they are actually pushing them. So maybe there is hope for Bergie after all. But the burger has just depleted itself. The spinner is no more. Oh, go on! Oh, for a minute I thought they were going to push HYPERSHOCK down the pit. And they've driven themselves down. Oh dear. When I was growing up, my mum always told me not to play with my food, but that seemed to work with HYPERSHOCK. One shot was all we really saw, to be honest. Maybe 2. Bang! That was a big one. Knocked the top burger askew. That one also knocked it a bit wonky as well. And then Bergie just seemed to do themselves in after that, opening the pit, smashing themselves into the side walls and losing their own top panel, before eventually driving down into the abyss. HYPERSHOCK go through.
Now we have the Diddler of England against the Canadian claws of Azoidiblue.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Interesting battle. There's two very different styles of machine. You've got the classic two-wheel drive vert in the Diddler. I still don't know why they named it that, to be honest. And the horizontal crushing claws of Zoidy Blue. Very much like Can Opener, two-time Annihilator champions in the original Robot Wars series. They've got a hold of the Diddler here, and they're not letting it go. Oh, as soon as I say that, they let it go. Well, okay then. Shows you how much I know. And now the Diddler trying to bring that spinner in and maybe do some damage to those claws, and that's exactly what's happened. They've managed to get into the mid-segment there, and I think that in itself has stopped those claws from working. Nope, they are still okay to move at the moment. Can the Diddler now do more damage to those claws? That's what they're trying to do. Trying to get the damage done. Maybe try and go for those wheels, see if they can take a wheel off of Zoidy Blue. Zoidy Blue seems to be holding up to the most impact at the moment, and a good push there into the pit fight. And this is a good fight so far from these two. Could really go to the judges. Not too sure who they'd be going for at the moment. Diddler definitely on damage, but what about control and aggression? Control and aggression are also important factors in this. Oh goodness me, another huge shot there from the Diddler. Oh! One of the back pieces from Zoidy Blue being ripped away. And as this battle goes on, the Diddler is getting stronger and stronger. Coming in, more shot after more shots. I'm just wondering how well those claws of Zoidy Blue are holding up. They look a little bit bent and a little bit buckled. The wheel as well is right there. They are still working those claws. Oh, another huge shot. And now Zoidy Blue are stuck on something and they're being counted down. Well, it was a brave effort from them, but it's all over. And the Diddler win very convincingly too, it must be said. Now Zoidy Blue seems to be away again, although they seem to be dead on one side. But it's all over for them. And the Diddler go through to the next round, trying to do damage to that wheel. It's not going to happen. Oh! They drive down the pit in the end.
Cease.
Well, it started okay for Zoidy Blue, grabbing a hold of the Diddler and controlling them around the arena for the early portions of the battle, but they couldn't get them towards the pit release button like what they were hoping to, and eventually they had to let them go, and that there is where the tables turned for the fight. Zoidy Blue's claws destroyed almost, and whilst they were able to get a good push in there into the pit button, the Diddler just kept coming back at them with hit after hit after hit, wearing them down, and eventually causing them to get stuck on a piece of their own armour before throwing themselves down the pit.
With the clean-up job done in the arena, we now have a clash of the characters between DETONATOR and Blunderbird.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
A battle between two legends of classic Robot Wars here. DETONATOR with the boggled eyes and the polka dot pattern and the big lurid grin, and you got Blunderbird 4 with the Plunderdocker Crusher and the mustard yellow paint job. Great fun, both teams, great fun, both machines, and down comes that Crusher of Blunderbird 4 onto the side of DETONATOR and did, nothing. He did absolutely nothing. Wonderful. DETONATOR looking to press the pit button and have done. That's viable tactics. Get the pit open, push your opponent down it. Classic tactics. Trying to get that lifting scoop underneath to flick. I don't think it's got the power to flick though. And very nearly down the pit there. And now Blunderbird 4 pushing them back towards the pit. And can they get DETONATOR down? Or can DETONATOR fight their own battle? They can fight their own battle just, although they're being pushed back again. Now Blunderbird 4 getting a little bit too close for their own good, but they managed to get away quickly. Or have they? They're reversing towards it. Thought they were going to throw themselves in it then for a second. Trying to bring that claw down once again. Look at it trundling along. This is a good little fight so far. Been a bit tame, I'll admit. And when I say tame, I mean tentative. And when I say tentative, I mean not a single weapon has actually done what it's supposed to do so far. So that's an interesting observation from yours truly. Trying to get that scoop in again. And I tell you what, if DETONATOR get another side on the assault like that again, they might be able to get Blunderbird 4 down the pit, because I think they've got the pushing power. They've definitely got the lower front, and they've pushed Blunderbird back, and down comes Blunderbird 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, waiting for that to go down, made me fall asleep. And as you can see, the result of watching that crusher go down was absolutely nothing. All due respect though to both these machines, they are great. A lot of effort's been put into them. They're both legends of classic Robot Wars, like I said. Great sports. Down comes that crusher once again, and I'm wondering how many damage points are being scored there. Seems to be getting a lot of open air, not really getting any of the important parts. Although saying that, a side panel has come off. Oh, but Plunderbird 4 very nearly threw themselves down the pit. It's not a Series 2 anymore, boys. You have to keep throwing yourselves down there. Goodness me, and again. And that will count against them for control, for definite. DETONATOR has lost an eye. Oh, it's all happening in the final few moments of this battle. Plunderbird 4 trundling along, trying to get a good attack in. Now where are they going? They're backing up towards the pit again. We're in the final 10 seconds, and this could very well go to the judges. I think it is going to go to the judges. And this will be a close, tough one for them to call. Because I tell you what, I couldn't call it. That was a very good, very close battle. Well, it was a very close battle. Both robots getting in good attacks on one another. Neither machine able to really trump the other. However, it did go to the judges, and the judges did decide that Plunderbird 4 were the more damaging machine and the more controlled, believe it or not. Very controversial, I'm sure. Some people might not agree with that decision. But as we look back, they were close to pitting DETONATOR there. They had good aggression there, pushing them backwards as well. DETONATOR's weapon was ineffective, and whilst I did laugh at how slow the claw was, it did get a couple of attacks in, and as you can see, there were pieces of DETONATOR on the floor by the end of the fight.
After that tense fight, we end the first round with Duck and Panic Attack fighting it out for Control Bot glory.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
BattleBots Legends Duck versus Robot Wars Legends Panic Attack. Duck with that lifting, hitting plow with the 360 rotation. Not too sure how in control that is. That will be a downfall actually against them as well, because Panic Attack is well known for being a very well controlled machine, but Duck was capable of getting underneath Panic Attack there and lifting them, so that was a good aggression. Not too sure any of these machines are really the most damaging of robots. Panic Attack being pushed back now, but pushing back against Duck, trying to get those lifting forks underneath and to lift them up. The pit button's been pressed. Good tactics there by Panic Attack. Classic Panic Attack tactics. Get the pit open, get your opponent in it. This is a good fight so far, probably the best fight of the tournament thus far between these two. And Panic Attack get those lifting forks underneath Duck and get them towards the pit. Duck was sitting Duck there by the pit, and I'm surprised Kim Davies didn't take advantage of that. Can they take advantage? And what's happened to Duck now? Has Duck just decided to stop? No, it's okay. It is moving, just. Panic Attack, I'd say, has been the more controlled. Aggression about even, damage about even, so Duck have to really work hard now to get that weapon of theirs into an effective position, because Panic Attack have now got their lifting forks underneath, but not managing to control them the way they would want to. Duck now showing minimal signs of life, emphasis on the word minimal, but it is trundling along. This is becoming a bit more of a tentative battle now. Both of us are sort of feeling each other out, neither really willing to go for the major attack, and I think Duck have just completely died now. There's absolutely no movement coming from their end, and they're being pushed back. Now they're moving, so they seem to have these little bursts of movement. Panic Attack's lifting forks haven't been as effective as we hoped they would have been, and again Duck is a rather hard robot to get a hold of because of the 360 scoop of theirs. Very tentative again. Duck just seems to not want to get into gear though. And the judges will definitely be taking note, and I think, oh no, they are okay. Again, they seem to stop and then go and stop and then go. But Panic Attack very nearly in the pit there. And Duck very nearly took advantage of it. Oh, and again. Panic Attack, whew, very close. And again. Oh, they like living on the edge, don't they? But Duck seems to be struggling more. Oh, but what is Panic Attack doing? They've driven down the pit and Duck is still mobile. And therefore, they win the fight. I honestly don't believe that. Panic Attack had this fight, if you ask me. Duck's weapon, whilst it did prove to be effective earlier on, it seemed to hinder them more than help them, causing them to do somersaults. And then they just had control problems all the way throughout. Panic Attack, of course, pressed the pit button in a twisted scale of irony. But despite their best efforts, they just could not get Duck down the pit, despite Duck barely working throughout the entirety of that fight. You can see another good push. And then Duck pushed back, and all of a sudden Panic Attack just got a little bit scared and, fell down the pit.
We're into the quarterfinals now, and the competition is definitely hotting up. First up, we have the Dutch Crusher of Petunia fighting against the plucky Detonator. Then it's Weldor M of Northern Ireland against the Czech Republic Good Hints. Then it's Vert on Vert with HYPERSHOCK against the Diddler. Finally, the Steady Plunderbird will fight the Lucky Duck. Let's get stuck in.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So we have Petunia, who beat King B Cubed earlier on, going up against Detonator, who've been the surprise package so far and have immediately flipped Petunia up and over. Can Petunia get back from there? Or have Detonator already won this? Detonator, you know, they really have been improved for this LEGO tournament. They've got a much better weapon, much more power. Not as good aim though. They're trying to hit the pit button twice. The third time they finally get it. And Petunia driving around in circles. Now they're okay and righting themselves. So Petunia could still come back into this. Not too sure. There's the little lifting arm of Detonator. But Detonator are definitely on top, so Petunia are going to have to do something here, like bring that claw down and do some damage to the side panels. Detonator seems to have done a good fixed job after earlier on against Frenzy. Then again, panels are falling off of them. But they've got Petunia on their back again. Can Petunia get away from there? The wheels are spinning. Yes, they can get away. Good burst of speed ahead. Good fight this so far. Detonator on top for me. On aggression and control. Damage would have to be going to Petunia's because of the lack of Petunia pieces on the floor, to be honest. But I don't really think that's Petunia's doing. I think that's more just Detonator falling apart. Which sounds about right for Detonator. Down comes the claw, though, of Petunia, but didn't manage to get a good attack in there. You would have thought they would have managed to get a hold of the internals, considering they're a bit more exposed where those armour panels are missing. And Petunia's wedge, well, it sort of popped out of place, only to be popped back into place. The claw has done absolutely nothing in this fight. And they're going to have to really work hard here, they hope to go through, because they could very well be going out to Detonator, and again they've been toppled! And now they're nearly in the pit! Oh! And I tell you, I thought Detonator had it then. I thought Detonator had it. I thought Petunia were goners. Petunia driving a bit too close towards that pit, and now getting the wedge underneath Detonator. And again, good driving there by the Dutch machine, the Dutch clutch, I guess you could call it, with that crusher, but it's not been the most effective, and it's being pushed backwards now by Detonator. The wedges once again come out of place. Detonator underneath. Good fight, really close battle this now. Both machines are really trying their hardest. Detonator, I'd say, is still probably just about on top, but Petunia's claw coming down in towards the exposed area. Oh, look at that, and now the internals could very well be in problems, and Detonator are all of a sudden in a lot of trouble, and Petunia have managed to turn this battle around on its head out of nowhere. And has that last assault now managed to swing it in their favour, do you think? We're going into the final 10 seconds. This is going to go to the judges, and it will be very, very close after a very good fight between two very good machines. Cease called. And I wouldn't want to be a judge here. Oh, bit of a last-minute push there from Detonator. That wasn't fair. Petunia down the pit. So it went to the judges, and it is actually a split decision, believe it or not. And this might be quite controversial, but they've actually gone for Petunia on damage and aggression. Despite Petunia being stuck on its back for a very long time, the judges argue that it was poor control from Detonator to get them off their back and get them back into the fight, and Petunia did severe damage to the side panels and even managed to get to the internals with the crusher, and they were the more aggressive machine towards the end. Some people might not agree with it, but the judges' ruling is final. Petunia go through.
After that very controversial decision, we move on to our second quarterfinal matchup between Weldor M and Good Hits.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Potential to be a good fight here. In my opinion, in the last round, Good Hits were the better machine, or the better performing machine out of these two, so they'd be my pick as a favourite to win here. And some damage has been done there. I think that was to... I'm not too sure who that was to, actually. I can't really see it from this angle. I think I get a better angle. The top panel, though, has come off of Weldor M again, and I think that might have been where it was from, actually. Now I look at it. Although they're getting the wedge underneath now. Underneath Good Hits and pushing it against the side wall. So that's a good attack there by Weldor M. Weldor M keeping the spinner facing Good Hits, but Good Hits have got... Oh, goodness me! An anti-spinner wedge, and I tell you what, if Weldor M had stayed on the pit plate another second, they would have been down the pit there. So that was very good driving by the Northern Irish machine to get away from danger. Down comes the hammer of Good Hits though, which is deflecting that spinner nicely. This is a tough battle to call so far because both throwers have been definitely fully invested. They've both been giving it their all. Good back and forth battle this so far. Could well go to the judges. If it does go to the judges, it will be a close fight. Down comes the hammer of Good Hits. And Weldor M are on the verge of the pit of oblivion. And I think it's only going to be a matter of time. Oh, how are they holding on? They're gone now. Oh, man. Well, they did great to hold on as long as they did. But it's over for them, and Good Hits go through to the next round. Good battle, that one, between two very good machines. Good Hits, though, were on top throughout the most of this fight. The top panel of Weldor M came off again. This was a good attack here, though, by Weldor M. Driving Good Hits against the arena sidewall, getting the wedge underneath, and causing some damage with that bar spinner onto the side. This was the close moment. The pit button being pressed just as Weldor M managed to get away, but unfortunately they still ended up down the pit, being shunted down there by Good Hits.
Next up is the spinner showdown between HYPERSHOCK and the Diddler. Let's see the panels fly.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So it's the battle of the two vertical spinners, HYPERSHOCK versus the Diddler. HYPERSHOCK, the quicker machine, got the four-wheel drive, so that will be an advantage when it comes to pushing. I tell you what isn't an advantage, driving into the sidewall like they just did. The Diddler coming in with that big spinner, definitely the bigger spinner of the two, and I think has the more damage potential of the two as well. It did more damage in the last fight to his opponent than HYPERSHOCK did. I think Bergie did more damage to itself. Let's be real here. Oh, and speaking of damage, they've taken a piece of the side armour off of HYPERSHOCK. HYPERSHOCK now being pushed back in towards the sidewall and being hit hard by the Diddler's spinner. HYPERSHOCK seems to have steering problems. He seems to go backwards and forwards. Doesn't really seem to steer much. And now just gently rocking forward, crawling forward almost. And I'm just wondering if they've been hit a few too many times by the Diddler. The Diddler, of course, good at wearing robots down with that big vertical spinning flywheel of theirs. And yes, HYPERSHOCK are being counted out here. There's not enough movement from them at all. And this is a shame. Oh, a burst of speed there. Is it enough? I don't think so. No, I think they've been counted out. Well, bit of controversy there perhaps, because they did start moving again, but they've stopped once again. So I'm not too sure what the judges will say.
Cease.
Well, there's a bit of controversy here because HYPERSHOCK did start moving before the countdown finished. However, the judges have informed me that had it gone to the judges' decision, HYPERSHOCK would have lost all three criteria anyway. And to be honest, it's easy to see why. The Diddler caused way more damage throughout. It controlled the fight and was by far the more aggressive. A very, very comfortable win for the Diddler here as they go through to the next round. HYPERSHOCK took a good beating, a good bashing, and was barely working at the end anyway. The Diddler go through, fair and square.
We end the quarterfinals with Blunderbird hoping to whip up a storm against a sturdy Duck.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Duck the first to move, and definitely the quicker machine, doing the box rush there straight away, pinning Thunderbird 4 against the wall. Thunderbird 4 of course has that crusher, but it's a very slow weapon. Duck meanwhile has the lifting, whacking beak thing on the 360-degree rotation. Good side attack there by Duck, pushing Thunderbird 4 into the pit button, so the pit has gone down. Who's got the more pushing power out of these two? Duck's got the four-wheel drive, but Thunderbird 4 has got the grip with those tracks. But a good side on assault here by Duck, pushing Thunderbird 4 towards the pit and down, and that was very, very quick. Good performance there by Duck. They go through to the next round, and a victory somersault, and well earned it was. Great stuff.
Cease.
Very quick fight that. Good start by Duck, slamming Thunderbird 4 into the side wall, then using great control and aggression to push them into the pit button before grabbing a hold of them again, shoving them against the side wall, getting underneath them with that beak, and then a big side-on assault shove underneath and pushing Thunderbird 4 towards the chasm and down. Well done to Duck. They go through.
Into the semi-finals now, and we still have 4 countries being represented by 4 vastly different robots. In the first semi-final, we will see Petunia fresh off their controversial win against the Hammer of Justice and Good Hits, while in the second semi-final, we'll see the KO machine of the Diddler try and rip the face off the breakdancing Duck.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Things really getting tense now as we've reached the semi-final stages of the championships. Good attack there by Petunia to start things off. Some would say they were lucky to get past the last round. Using good control though, and good tactics to get their weapon into the weapon slot of Good Hits, but Good Hits using good control to get themselves out of that predicament. Very tactical battle from these two so far. For me, the telling tale is the front wedge of Petunia. If they can keep that pointed at Good Hits like they're doing, they should do very well. And this is a good attack here by Petunia, getting Good Hits against the sidewall, hitting the pit button, and now getting the claw into play. And that's exactly what they've done. And now they can control Good Hits towards the pit. And Petunia could very well be our first grand finalist in LEGO Wars if they can just get Good Hits towards the pit. Good Hits are on the verge of going down. Will they fall here? Yes, they will. Down the pit they go. And Petunia go through to the grand final. Well, that was a great performance by Petunia. Getting a good push in straight away, shoving Good Hits against the sidewall and bringing the claw down. Good attacks though from Good Hits meant that they could get themselves out of trouble. But this was the telling tale. Look at this tactic here. Pushing them into the pit button and then grabbing them right by that vulnerable slot and then shoving them towards the pit where they eventually fell down. Petunia go through to the final.
With a much more convincing win there from Petunia, we move on to our second semi-final where the unstoppable force of the Diddler will meet the immovable object of Duck.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So who will snatch the final place in the first ever LEGO Wars Grand Final? Both these machines have the potential to do it for certain. Both of them have performed very well in this tournament. The Diddler maybe has performed slightly better than Duck, but Duck has got that good pushing power, and that plow does not take kindly to spinners. So that's something the Diddler will have to watch out for. The pit button has been pressed, and I thought for a minute that Duck was going to reverse them straight into the pit, which would have been a fantastic attack and great work. But you see that front plow of Duck's just deflecting that spinner of the Diddler. The Diddler, of course, has caused lots of damage in this competition so far, but Duck's plow seems to be really holding its own against it, and they've got the more pushing power, and all it will take is one good push from Duck towards the pit of oblivion, and that's exactly what they're going to try and do now. And the Diddler on the verge of going down, but driving away. Good driving there by the Diddler to get out of trouble. The Duck team trying desperately to get them in the pit by pushing them, but the Diddler's spinner sort of locking them in place almost there. Look at this. Can Duck get them down the pit? Oh, the Diddler were very close to the pit there. That was a worrying shot, but another good drive from the duck into the diddler, into the side wall, and now behind the diddler, and that's not where the diddler want duck to be, and they're in the pit. Good driving there by duck, and they go through to the grand final to face off against Petunia. Somersaulting once again.
Cease.
Good work from duck there, using that plough to deflect the spinner of the diddler and using superior driving skill and control to get around the sides and around the back and just control the fight overall. Just look there at the amount of punishment he was willing to take just to win. Look at that. The plough's so good at deflecting spinners. Could this be the champion? With driving position like that, they very well could be, as they were able to get around the back of the diddler, drive them into the sidewall to stop that spinner from spinning, and then shove them down the pit.
Well done to Duck for that dominant display. Just a shame about breaking the pit. Before we go on to the final though, we have a third place playoff between Good Hits and the Diddler. Let's hope they don't break any more of the set.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So it's the consolation round. Third place playoff between Good Hits and the Diddler. Good Hits bringing the axe in to the spinner of the Diddler, trying to get it to stop spinning. That is a ferocious weapon, don't forget. Down will come that hammer, I'm sure. Yes, down it comes once again. The Diddler not doing that much damage, and I think that's because Good Hits' front is a bit like Duck's. It's a very good spinner deflector, but it is starting to buckle a little bit on the top, and they have lost part of their wedge. And now all of a sudden, oh, and another piece has come flying off. And this is what the Diddler does. It just wears robots down, but down comes that axe once again of Good Hits. So there's still plenty of life left in that weapon. Goodness me, this is a really good battle here between these two machines. I'm not going to lie, it's very, very close. A battle worthy of a grand final, I'm sure, and both machines will be disappointed that they didn't get as far, but they're making up for it now, aren't they? Look down at the damage, though, being caused to Good Hits by the Diddler. The Diddler are definitely winning on damage. Aggression is pretty equal, control pretty equal. The pit is down. Who's going to go down into the pit, I wonder? Who's got the better pushing power of these two? Not too sure. Will it end in a pitting or will it go to the judges? Down comes the axe once again of Good Hits. So they are getting those axe shots in. But how many of them are causing damage? Oh, goodness me! And now the damage really starting to show, because Good Hits' weapon has been destroyed. Its sides have been destroyed. There's barely anything left of it. How is it still mobile? Well, you've got to give them credit where it's due, and they're still, bless their hearts, they're still trying to bring the axe down, despite the fact it's been obliterated by that front spinner of the Diddler. And as this fight's going on, the Diddler is getting stronger and stronger, and Good Hits is getting weaker and weaker, and it's only a matter of time, but they are still going, and they're on the attack as well. Great stuff. Oh, down comes that huge hammer once again. There's that big spinner though. And I tell you what, if they manage to make it to the end of the fight, they deserve everyone's round of applause, because they really have given it their all here, Good Hits. They're not easing up at all. Can Good Hits get a good hit in? I doubt it now. We're in the final 20 seconds, I want to say, of this fight. We're towards the end of it, that's for sure, and it's looking like they are going to survive. And coming in for another side on the soul, and they're pushing the Diddler back now. We're in the final 10 seconds. It is going to go to the judges. And I tell you what, I don't think it's going to be that close of a decision, but fair play to Good Hits for surviving as long as he did. That was a fantastic fight. Well done to both machines. Great work from both sides. Well, I can confirm that the Diddler did win on the judge's decision via damage and aggression, but that doesn't mean you can take it from Good Hits. They really did give it their all there. Look at it. Pieces were just flying off of them left, right and centre, taking damage all over, but they were not giving up. Even on the aggressive there, even bringing the axe down onto the Diddler. But this, I think, is the decisive moment when their axe got absolutely damaged. destroyed even, and before long there wasn't much of it left. But they kept coming back strongly, but it wasn't strong enough, and the Diddler get 3rd place this time around.
Well done to the Diddler for sealing 3rd place with another destructive display. Now all that remains is to crown our LEGO Wars World Champion. Both Petunia and Duck have rode their luck on the way to the final, so let's see who has the last quack.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
And here we go for the first grand final of LEGO Wars, and what a fight it's going to be. Duck versus Petunia, 2 BattleBots legends. Duck from the US of A, Petunia from the Netherlands. Both legends of the modern robot combat era, but who will win the first ever LEGO Wars trophy? At the moment, I'd say Duck is just in command. Petunia has been upside down a couple of times, but Duck doing that backflip somersault, which isn't good control. Now Petunia's trying to bring the claw in on top of Duck and get that crusher in. It's a flat, low robot, so a good target for a crusher like Petunia. But Duck has the 4-wheel drive. Does it have the more pushing power? Not when it's throwing itself around like that, it doesn't. Is it in full control with that weapon at this point in time? Petunia trying to bring the claw down, but good push now by Duck. Duck going back for another good drive and another one, but Petunia seems to have the more grippy ties despite being 2-wheel drive. This, for me, is a tough one. It's a brilliant final, isn't it? One of the best fights of the tournament, fitting as it should be. It's the final. Who will take home the trophy? Who will be the first LEGO Wars champion? Anybody who was a smart betting man would probably bet on Petunia, although Duck is pushing back. This is a really good fight at the moment, very tactical. That was good driving by Duck, getting on the back and on the sides of Petunia, trying to flip them over, but didn't quite work. Throwing itself around once again. They need to get better control of that weapon of theirs. It's great for getting themselves out of danger, but when they're not in danger, they're just throwing themselves around all silly, which doesn't help them. Petunia coming now for a good push. Both robots pushing. This is a good heave-ho. Look at that tug of war. But Duck are being pushed closer and closer towards the pit. Are Duck still mobile? They don't seem to be moving too much, and I don't think it's going to be long until Petunia can get a good little push and shove. Duck are right on the edge of the pit here. Can they get away from there? They can't. Petunia have pitted them, and Petunia are the first champions of LEGO Wars. Well done to them.
Cease.
Well, it was a good tussle from beginning to end. Duck started the stronger with that almighty push, and they managed to flip Petunia over. But they seemed to lack control throughout with their weaponry. Another good drive here by Duck, and at that point I thought Duck was sure winners, really. I thought that they had it in the bag, but like I said, that weapon just proved to be a little bit too out of control in this fight. And Petunia eventually came back, started wearing Duck down, and they were able to even outpush them towards the end. And I think Duck just sort of ran out of battery power towards the end because they got pushed down the pit.
Congratulations to Petunia, our LEGO Wars World Champion. Thanks to everybody who took part both on camera and behind the scenes. That's all we have time for in this special, but rest assured LEGO Wars will return very soon. For now though, I've been your host David of Smeg, and we'll see you in the next one.